On that West Fargo school shooting threat, 2 juveniles are now in custody, suspected of threatening a shooting at Cheney Middle School. Police say one suspect is from West Fargo, the other from Fargo, and that the two acted independently of each other. Search warrants were executed yesterday at 2 locations. Students and staff are now heading back to classes today. This is a live look at that middle school. They had to spend a day online learning at home yesterday because of that threat. The district is setting up a designated care and support room in the office. The Snapchat threat that police and school officials acted on indicated that 5 people were involved and that the shooting would happen during the lunch hour. Police are now saying, though, that they are not looking for any more suspects. Reports are being forwarded to the Cass County State's Attorney. The minors could be charged with terrorizing, which is a felony, but it's too early to know if they'll be charged as juveniles or as adults. Meanwhile, school representatives say if you have concerns about your student returning to school, you should reach out to your administrator. The Pembina County Sheriff's Office in northern North Dakota is investigating a potential threat against a school there. Staff at the North Border School District contacted them over concerns. Sheriff's officials say, based on interviews with students and staff, it appeared there was no immediate threat, but they are still investigating. Mental health experts are now speaking out in the wake of school shooting threats in the region. The director of counseling at Prairie St. John's in Fargo says now is the time to have those difficult conversations with your kids and check in with them. She says if kids don't get the care they need, some act out and they take lessons from events in the news, like that deadly shooting last week in Michigan.
There's, in the events of Oxford, there's also a copycat effect where something happens and so then that moves on to another city, to another town, to another state. So we have to be on the lookout for that too.
Experts say the pandemic has made normal stress even worse, but the problem behind the threats has always been there, and that's the lack of mental health care for students who are on the edge. We have new information this morning on a crash between a pickup and a pedestrian in Clay County. The State Patrol now says a 29-year-old man from Staples, Minnesota is being treated for life-threatening injuries after being hit by a vehicle while he was walking along Highway 34 near Barnesville yesterday. Eli Hutchinson was airlifted to a Fargo hospital. The driver of the pickup that hit him, 68-year-old James Plath of Barnesville, was not hurt in that crash. Going on right now this morning, it's day 2 of storm cleanup in downtown Fargo, and again, some people will find their cars gone this morning. Police gave them until 2 o'clock this morning to move their vehicles, but tow trucks, they waited. You see them in lines there until the clock struck 2 just a few hours ago, and then those cars got the boot. Those snowplows and drivers are now clearing East and West Avenues this morning after they did the streets yesterday. The cleanup area is between 2nd Avenue South and 7th Avenue North, and then from 2nd Street to University. And this morning, another cold morning to be out there, no matter what you're doing, clearing the snow or just walking to the car. Lisa Green has your forecast.
Yes, another morning to bundle up, but we are about to make that turn to some milder weather, and that starts today. So take heart as you are stepping out into some negative temperatures yet again this morning. Fargo is at 5 for our current temperature. Our wind chill in pink here is the same number, meaning that we don't have any wind. It's not really affecting us here this morning in that area. But Grand Forks, here's our situation. We're at 4 below, so it's a little colder in northeastern North Dakota. And if you factor in any wind at all, we're looking at wind chills that are down into the teens below. So it feels like 16 below in Grand Forks. Thief River Falls, no wind, 2 below your temperature. It's 12 above in Bemidji, milder there. That's where we still have a little bit of light snow coming down as well. Wind chill of 1. Fergus Falls at 5, and in Devil's Lake, our temperature is 6 below, one of our colder spots here this morning. And factoring in a light wind, it feels like 20 below. So another cold start. We do have some of those light snow showers that we were seeing overnight last night and this morning. Those are moving east, still affecting some of our eastern communities. Otherwise, it's looking quieter to start this morning, but watching out to the northwest. You can see that we've got some snow showers moving into western North Dakota, southern parts of Canada. That's all moving eastward, and our northern valley viewers have a chance for a light coating of snow as we head into the afternoon and evening hours for tonight. Along with that, we've got some wind picking up, so watch out for a little bit of blowing and drifting going on too later on. This morning we have to watch for some fog. In addition to those light snow showers in the east, there's some dense fog that's developed. It's been varying, but overall we've been seeing those visibilities go up and then come down and go back up again, and now we're back down to 0 for visibility in Valley City and in Cooperstown less than a mile. So that upper Cheyenne Valley having some trouble, back over to Carrington as well. Northeastern North Dakota, not so terrible. We're looking at good visibility, in fact, for most areas. And back over into Roseau, some fog there too. 2.5 miles visibility. Thief River's at 3, and Bemidji, where we have that light snow, 2 miles. So a couple of hazards to watch out for this morning with the fog and a little bit of light snow. So otherwise at the bus stop, we've got conditions that are pretty quiet here for the kids. We're seeing temperatures, at least in Fargo, above 0. They'll still want to bundle up with that full winter weather gear. But check out your afternoon temperatures, back into the low 20s. Watch for the wind, though. That'll be picking up as the day goes along, so it's going to get breezy. We're talking mostly cloudy skies. And again, if you're in the Northern Valley, you're more likely to experience a little bit of light snow with that, too, heading into tonight. For Thursday, expect the morning hours to be more on the cloudy side. There may be a little bit of a light mix we're going to have to watch for Thursday morning if this carries over. So that might have some impacts on your commute. But notice that temperature, 20s to start Thursday, and then we get above freezing by the time we get into Thursday afternoon. So some big warming coming our way.
Looking forward to the warm temps. Lisa, thank you. New this morning, the Northwest Regional Correction Center in Crookston is closing part of its jail because of staffing shortages. NPR is reporting that administrators cannot meet the state requirements. The jail needs 38 full-time officers, but Executive Director Andrew Larson says the rate of staff turnover has become unsustainable. He says they've had 40 resignations through November. That's compared with 20 in all of last year. The jail is operated by Polk, Norman, and Red Lake counties and can house 200 inmates, but they're shutting down a 60-bed housing unit this week. That cuts capacity to 140. School officials across Minnesota are starting to add days to their upcoming Christmas breaks in hopes of slowing the spread of COVID. Duluth is just the latest. They're adding 2 days to help address COVID safety, staffing shortages, and mental health needs. St. Paul, Anoka, St. Cloud, Rochester, and Osseo, along with Duluth now, have all made similar plans. Opening arguments start today in the case of a Brooklyn Center, Minnesota police officer accused of killing Dante Wright. The core of Kim Potter's defense is that she meant to use her taser, but then grabbed her gun instead. Experts say such cases are rare, but they do happen. They have been reported in California, Oklahoma, and Missouri. Police psychologist Bill Lewinsky says the phrase slip and capture errors describes that phenomenon. He says officers sometimes perform the direct opposite of their intended actions under the stress. Other experts say a major factor in why officers mistakenly draw their firearms is that stun guns typically look and feel like a firearm. Meanwhile, a man is charged with harassing the judge in the Kim Potter trial. He's now in custody in Minnesota. Cortez Rice was arrested last week in Wisconsin after police alleged that he entered a Minneapolis apartment building where he believed the judge lived. He then posted a video from outside of what he thought was the judge's door. Judge Regina Chu believes that she was targeted with the intention to intimidate her and in fear with the judicial process. A federal judge has imposed a $15 million criminal fine on the company behind the largest oil spill in North Dakota history. In 2014 and 2015, 29 million gallons of an oil-contaminated waste product leaked from a pipeline north of Williston and impacted more than 30 miles of Blacktail Creek. Now, Summit Midstream Partners pleaded guilty to the criminal charges for deliberately failing to immediately report that spill as required under the Clean Water Act. The surface water cleanup is mostly complete, but groundwater cleanup is still happening right now. Call it a cell phone save. A Sioux Falls man has just minor injuries after he says his cell phone stopped a bullet during a road rage shooting on Monday. Police say the man was stopped at an intersection when an SUV pulled up and the driver started yelling something. Then he says the other guy pulled out a gun and fired a shot at him. The bullet went through the driver's side door and hit the phone in the victim's coat pocket, saving him from serious injury. Let's get the answer now to our question of the morning on Facebook. That question today in a new survey, 16% of people admit they never wash this. The answer to that question is their car. Maybe got a little dust on that thing. If you never wash it, remember you can play along every single day. The Today Show and CBS This Morning are just about to start, but the Valley Today rolls on. More live up-to-the-minute news and weather coming up right now on the Fargo CW. Have a happy and safe Wednesday, everyone.